Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. Player ratings from Chelsea 1, Liverpool 1. This Monday has probably been the best start to a Monday that we can remember as Chelsea fans for quite some time. And if you've been living under a rock and aren't subscribed to the George Benson Football Channel so that you saw, I posted my video with the here we go for Caicedo to Chelsea. It's official. Moises Caicedo will today become a Chelsea player. But because we've only got one game a week this season, the reason for that is the calamity, the disaster, the tragedy that was Chelsea Football Club in the 22-23 season. So 6 things we learned will be uploaded immediately after every game. And then the following day, we're going to go through player ratings out of 10 for all of the players and, of course, Mauricio, Pochettino, to discuss in a bit more depth about the way that Chelsea played, the way that individual players played. And without any further ado, we're going to talk about Robert Sanchez, and as we go through all of the players, I can hopefully give you guys a more in-depth look at what Chelsea did very well yesterday, despite only getting a draw. I've given Sanchez a 6, and when I look back at what he really had to do in the game, maybe it could have been a little bit lower. Initially, when Liverpool score their goal, you see Mo Salah putting a really good ball into the box. He's isolated Levi Colwill, gets it out onto his left foot, which he always loves to do, especially against Chelsea, and also especially on the first day of the season. Gets the ball across, Diaz is running through, and you look at it and you're like, maybe it was a bit close to Sanchez. He could have got down quicker, could have saved it, but he's 6'6", 6'7". When you look at the positives and the negatives of having a tall goalkeeper, the positives, we see it at the end of the game where Darwin Núñez's shot looks like it could be going in, and you see that Sanchez has basically dived the entire length of the goal and he could have saved it. There's also the corners where he's taken them out of the air, catching it, and Chelsea, considering we don't have that much height in the team, we need a tall goalkeeper. But the negatives of being tall, you can't get down quickly enough. I'm 6'3". I used to be a goalkeeper. I get it. I totally understand. But it was his debut. There was the pass out as well that falls to McAllister that almost gets to Núñez. If that goes in, it's a disaster of a debut for Sanchez, but it didn't. We drew the game, we didn't lose, so it's a 6 out of 10 for Sanchez. We move into Reece James as player number 2 here. I've given Reece a 7 out of 10. When I do my player ratings, I always try and think about what I know that 10 out of 10 performance for that player should look like. With Reece, he looked very good. I was so concerned when he comes off the pitch. We're thinking, he's holding his knee. Surely, on match week number 1, Reece James hasn't got himself an injury. Pochettino has since confirmed that he was just tired. And when Chelsea have got someone like Gusto, more than competent right back, to come off the bench, it's okay. If Reece is tired, let's not risk it. The thing I loved about Reece James in this game was he's wearing the captain's armband, point number 1. Point number 2, what is Reece best at? Reece is best when he gets forward. And in the first half an hour or so, Reece wasn't really getting those opportunities. The thing that allowed Reece James to actually get forward, get the crosses in, get towards the box a bit more, was the movement and the football intelligence of Raheem Sterling. Say whatever you want about Sterling, but a lot of the stuff he does on the ball, end product-wise, not good enough. But intelligently, the way he drops deeper, the way he drops narrow, which is a very, very common theme of a Pochettino side, what this does is it forces Robertson, the Liverpool left-back, to come in with Raheem Sterling, enabling the space for Reece James around the back, overloading that right side. When we're not up against, because every week we're not up against Liverpool. There are really good teams in this league. Liverpool are one of them. And Jurgen Klopp is very, very smart. He's tactically aware that his team right now is overloaded with attackers, maybe not so much defenders. So when Sterling draws Robertson out, James gets into that space. You've got players who can pick a pass like Thiago Silva, Levi Colwill, Enzo Fernandez, and that's where we saw James utilised to his best, but there's still more to come. Good, solid captain's debut for Reece James. Axel Disasi, 7.5. If it isn't for watching the game back, immediately, when Diaz scores, I'm looking at Disasi. I'm thinking, that's your fault. That was your man. You weren't quick enough to react. This is the Premier League. Wake up, shape up. And on reflection, maybe there's a bit more blame you could give to Reece James for the Liverpool goal that goes in. But the response from Axel Disasi is massive. To turn up and score the goal, Ben Chilwell gets the header back in. Disasi, the good thing about what he did is he didn't get perfect contact on the ball for the goal. If he did get perfect contact, he probably hits it too hard, straight at Alisson, Chelsea don't score. But he guides it into the bottom corner of the net. From there, the confidence that exudes from Axel Disasi is massive. He's running around, appreciating the crowd, all of the players coming up to him. Chilwell's looking at him like, you just scored on your debut at Stamford Bridge. Brilliant stuff. You then start seeing him spread 70-yard passes across the field, trying to play those balls through the Liverpool team, which is how we had to play yesterday. Liverpool, as much as the Klopp press is kind of toned down compared to what it used to be, it was up to Disasi, Silva, Colwill to try and break the lines, to try and play through Liverpool to get the more progressive players on the ball. 7.5 for Disasi and a 7.5 for Thiago Silva. I think with Silva, it's become just such a customary thing that we know what we're going to get. We're going to get class. We're going to get top performances game after game. And weirdly, I've given Thiago Silva a higher rating than Levi Colwill, but I gave Levi a box in 6 things we learned. That's what I like about doing these player ratings. I get to look at the analysis of the game a bit more, look at the certain patterns and things that maybe when I'm doing a live stream I miss. And 6 things we learned, it's immediate reaction. Silva just did everything that we asked of him to a really high standard and high level. Yet again, 7.5. Levi I've given a 7. The reason I didn't match him with the 7.5 for Disasi and Silva is he struggled in the opening half an hour. What Liverpool were able to do in the early phases of the game, which is how they got their goal, was isolate Levi Colwill. What Colwill was asked to do is, because Silva and Disasi were more than happy to move when Chelsea were in possession on the left side, Levi's role was to kind of sit in there as a left back, allowing Chilwell to be that progressive left wing player that we know he does so well. And in a result of this, when Salah was able to find those space pockets, he was able to isolate Levi Colwill, and then he shows him onto his left foot, which again, Levi is a brilliant player, and it wasn't a poor performance, but you don't show Mo Salah onto his left foot because if he doesn't shoot and score, he's going to pass and find an assist, which is exactly what he did. Then Levi Colwill gets into the game. We see him advancing up the pitch, making those killer passes over and over again. And considering it's his first game in a Chelsea shirt, playing against the team that wanted to sign him, I think the way that he grew into the game was massive. I think Liverpool kind of targeted that Salah space early on, and then as the game went on, Mo Salah's importance just kind of disintegrated a little bit. And then when he got taken off, he's there throwing all of his flipping bandages on the pitch because he's fuming. He's fuming because he's been outdone by a Pochettino Chelsea team who identified what Liverpool saw as a Chelsea weakness. Chelsea mould the game into something else so that it's no longer an issue. Levi Colwill gets a 7. Ben Chilwell also gets a 7 out of 10. Gets forward on numerous occasions, is literally a fraction away from scoring a winning goal. It's a beautiful pass from Enzo. Ben Chilwell again, playing like a second striker, rounds Alisson, puts it in the back of the net. We all go absolutely bonkers. It was a moment, and even though it didn't count, I still feel as though Chilwell's goal does count as a moment where we all as fans are like, we haven't experienced this for so long. We can do things right now. Scoring 2 goals in 2 minutes against Liverpool is not easy. And this Liverpool team conceded a lot of goals, but the intensity. Ben Chilwell represents all of that Pochettino intensity. We can see this season, if he stays fit, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm calling it now. If Ben Chilwell plays at least 28 matches this season, I could see him getting 7 or 8 goals, minimum, from left back. He's going to be such an important player for us. We get that natural width. And again, it was the movement of the Gallaghers, the Enzos that we talk about in a minute, and Colwill being happy to sit there in a left back position that enables Chilwell to get beyond Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's always looking to get forward at every given opportunity. Early phases, Chelsea were trying too many long balls. Konate was dominating Chilwell in the air. But then, Chilwell, we do something a bit different. We stopped trying to play that long looping pass. We play through the defence with balls on the floor. And Chilwell gets the space. Thought he was really good. More to come. Conor Gallagher, what a surprise yesterday. 7.5 out of 10. Playing in a pivot, I think the reason why Pochettino started with 3 centre-backs yesterday was because Caicedo's not here. And I think what he tried to do was, well, exactly what we saw. Gallagher, at times, was the deepest midfielder. Pochettino wanted to beat Liverpool yesterday. And by allowing Enzo to get further forward, putting the trust in Conor Gallagher to be that deeper 6, to be that one of those two in the pivot, I was surprised to see Gallagher the one staying back and Enzo getting forward. I was happy to see it. And Gallagher did a really good job. In the opening phases, he kind of gave the ball away a few times, gets caught on the turn, but he grew into the game massively. And I said in 6 Things We Learned, he acted like a bull in a china shop, just kind of like running around, destroying everything that came his way, putting in tackles and making the right passes and movements too. I thought it was a really intelligent performance from Conor Gallagher, and it's testament to how Pochettino has come in and he's able to develop players immediately. Beautiful sign to see. Enzo Fernandez, 8.5. He was the star of the show yesterday for Chelsea. And why was he the star of the show? What have I been saying? What has anybody who watches Chelsea been saying? You need to kind of like undo Enzo's laces. And when I say the laces, he's kind of locked into his own boots at the moment because he was having to do too much. He was having to do the defensive role. He was having to get on the ball in all of the different areas, the build-up phase, the attacking phase. Couldn't do it all because there wasn't anybody alongside him competent enough to do the defensive work. Gallagher does the defensive work yesterday, so Enzo gets forward. What were Liverpool doing early in the game that worked? Cody Gakpo was trying to play as an advanced 8 on the edge of the box. Enzo had to defend more. What does Enzo then do? He just forces himself as far forward as possible, joins the attack. There was like a bank of 4 in the attack, which meant that Gakpo had to get back. All of a sudden, the tempo of the game changes, the flow changes. Chelsea find the pockets, and Liverpool aren't the dominant team anymore. And Enzo Fernandez's movement was the result for that. It's a Pochettino thing telling him what to do, but it's also the competence and confidence of Enzo Fernandez to adopt these instructions that make Chelsea such a formidable team now that we can add the brilliant defensive rigidness of Moises Caicedo to this midfield. I'm so excited for how we see Enzo Fernandez evolve this season into the brilliant mercurial footballer that I think we all know is in there. The price tag, what? Tell me why we've wasted our money on Enzo Fernandez. I will wait for you in the comments down below, and I'm pretty sure you won't be able to find me a decent reason. This guy has got it all. Carney Chukwuemeka, given a 6 out of 10, one of the lower ratings in this video. Khan struggled to impose himself on the game. I've said this about him before. When he's not involved in touching the ball enough, he's kind of just like, I'm not sure. Well, the best way I can describe this is, and let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. When Caicedo joins, if Gallagher stays, I would like to see Gallagher playing where Carney Chukwuemeka was playing yesterday, because I think the work rate of Gallagher enables him to get on the ball a bit more, and it just adds another dynamic for the Liverpool defenders to make a guess as to where we're going to move. I think Carney couldn't really get hold of it yesterday. And a lot of that was down to Chelsea was struggling to find that width so that then Carney Chukwuemeka could receive the second pass in that final phase. 6 out of 10. Want to see more from him. I'm not giving up on the guy just yet, but I don't think it was the best performance yesterday, but it was still good. He grew into the game. Everybody grew into the game yesterday. Speaking of probably the biggest glow up from minute 30 to the end, Raheem Sterling. If you watch my live stream, I was going in on Raz at the beginning of the game. It got to the point where, again, he gets into a good position. There's a pass on, or there isn't a pass on, but he just puts it out for a goal kick, or he passes it straight to Alisson. I'm like, what is it about this guy that when he gets in the final third, his head just switches off? All of a sudden, we saw different movement. Chelsea defenders were not doing these long loop balls over the top anymore. They were passing into feet to Gallagher, into feet to Enzo. Sterling, using that football IQ of his, dropping a bit deeper and a bit narrower in the centre to enable Robertson to come in and track him, allowing James the overlap. It was Raheem Sterling yesterday was the facilitator for the way that Chelsea grew with the width of the pitch with James and Chilwell. Sterling's movement was fantastic. And then the link up that we saw with Reece James in the final third was really good. When you've got players who have that level of ability and intelligence between your Sterlings, your Jameses, this could be really good. And the way that Sterling, again, I keep saying, grew into the game. Chelsea were 1-0 down. Last season, we're 1-0 down. Our heads drop. We don't come back in. Yesterday was night and day to what that was last season. And that is down to a lot of movement and quality when it comes to Chelsea players adapting and taking on the instructions that Mauricio Pochettino has installed even from these early stages. Nicholas Jackson, given a 6.5. When your striker, you can name a couple of big chances for him in the game and he doesn't score and you don't win, it can't be all positive. You've got to talk about this because Jackson has been brought in to score goals and he didn't. However, he still had a really good game. The movement, the dynamism of his runs, trying to make the runs in behind, off the shoulder of the defender, dropping deeper as well. When he was out of the game for a little bit, he dropped deep. He'd try and get himself in a bit of a nuisance to the Liverpool midfield and the defence by drawing Liverpool defenders out. Once again, allowing for those overloads on the wings for Chelsea. And Jackson also was making those moves the same as your Enzos and your Gallaghers to facilitate this. Nicholas Jackson, his attitude for me is what makes me love him already. There is an element of his game where it comes to just like, he just looks like he's in the mood. You know, Kai Havertz looked as though he'd rather be at home feeding his donkey sugar beet than on the pitch playing football for Chelsea Football Club. Looked quite similar for Arsenal, actually, at times against Forest too. You've got to sometimes have footballers in your team that just have a mentality which is, there's no way I'm going to fail. His first test was Konate, Van Dijk, two of the best defenders in the Premier League, especially Virgil van Dijk. And he did very well. He wasn't isolated. It was times where he was isolated, but it wasn't like he wasn't trying to get involved. Needs to score those chances, and if he does, we're talking about numerous 9s, maybe 10s this season from Nicholas Jackson. Going to race through the substitutions a little bit because Poch made substitutions late. The one thing I will say that I think we could have seen earlier was Mudryk. I think a lot of people were like, well, Trent Alexander-Arnold, his importance in this Liverpool team is now not what it was in the first half. He wasn't finding those spaces. We were drawing him inside, but keeping the ball away from him. And I think maybe Mudryk could have been that key to unlock that Liverpool back line. We saw it at the end of the game where Jackson plays him in, he rounds Alisson, can't finish it. But I just think maybe 10 more minutes of Mudryk, and we could have seen maybe another one of those chances we had at the end, and it could have been a goal. Not necessarily a criticism, but I think here, when you look through the ratings I've given, Mudryk couldn't really get involved much, and then when he does round the keeper, you just really want him to score. But he wasn't on the pitch long enough, so it's kind of unfair, I guess. But Ugochukwu didn't really get much of a game at all. But overall here, Pochettino, I'm giving him an 8 for this game. I think maybe that late substitution that was a bit too late could have been the difference. I think we could have made that sub earlier. But overall, when you think about what we thought, and the chat, you guys weren't happy really. It was 50-50. Happy, not happy with the 3 at the back system. Chelsea have shown again, Pochettino, we're expecting a 4-2-3-1, throws out a 3 at the back formation. Incredible. Chelsea changed the game with the way that we changed the roles of individuals on the pitch. Something we didn't do all of last season. It was excellent. We might have drawn, but going to West Ham next week, I am very, very excited and confident, especially now we got Caicedo, that this season is going to be beautiful. I'm really, really confident now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below about the game, about your player ratings too. I'd love to see what you guys have to say about certain individuals on the pitch. Once the office is a bit more ready, I've got a whiteboard coming. We're going to get some magnets and stuff and like move the players around to show and highlight things in a bit more of like a analog way, I guess you could say, as opposed to everything being digital images. But yeah, really enjoyed this. Let me know if you did by hitting the like button. Subscribe if you are new. Come on, you Blues.